Hello and welcome. This is Kevin, also known as AWOL, and today I am making the randomized bracelet. So this is essentially just taking my template and sort of randomly making colors go in various directions and seeing how it turns out and seeing what it comes from. And it's kind of because somebody over on Reddit had seen a bracelet that was probably made in South America, like Peru or one of those kind of places. Kind of looks like a yarn as opposed to like embroidery floss. Bright colors, really pretty. It's a sort of traditional thing that's done, and it only mirrors from left to right, and it's sort of, there's a bit of a randomness to it. There's a bit of a, if you got too much of one color, you'll kind of let that go away and you bring in the other colors instead, until there's too much of the other colors, then you bring it back again, that kind of vibe to it. So I tried to kind of make that same things in my template, but because I'm using a template, I have the ability to make it not only mirror left to right, but I can make it mirror from top to bottom, and that gives it definitely a different kind of look to the whole bracelet, and it's kind of fun. It's I don't know that when I first look at the bracelet that my mind immediately says, oh, it's mirrored two different ways, but when you kind of study it after a little while, you kind of you know it's mirrored left to right. But then, you know, like I said, a little further inspection, it starts to really kind of kick in that it does mirror both ways, and it is absolutely fascinating. There are spots that are like, huh, you know, there's an awful lot of the darker red in, you know, one particular area, but then it kind of goes away and gets broken up by the other colors immediately after. And I kind of like that. I kind of like how no one color was allowed to dominate the whole thing. So it's only 4 colors, 24 strings coming down, so like 12 going to the loop. Made it kind of cool. It made it so that way I used 1/3 of the length of string for my string. So basically I just needed 4 skeins all cut into thirds and then put it together. It does make the beginning loop a little bit different in the sense that it doesn't, both sides aren't exact copies of each other. It's broken up, you know, you have to kind of match the colors accordingly, and that wasn't so difficult. There's a lot of times where I could potentially have done more segmented knotting and like stay concentrated on one area, but didn't, because it was a little bit easier to make sure that I'm doing the same things on both sides and getting it right. Now that said, we still had a couple mistakes. There was a spot where it looked so easy, like the color was just coming straight to the edge, but at the edge it changed directions, and so I had to back off a couple knots and fix my mistake. Otherwise I would have not had yellow where it was intended to be, and we would have lost the symmetry. So yeah, that happened. I was just distracted a little bit by videos and stuff around me. So but on a pattern like this, I found myself like constantly checking, okay, the blue goes over the yellow, over the blue, over the, you know, just each knot, just verifying that it was going exactly the way it was intended to. And I think that's why it took me about 3.5 hours to make this, which I'm not sure if that's a lot more or average from whatever. I don't do a lot of 24 string bracelets single-stranded, so I'm really not sure how that worked out. But I love the bracelet overall. I really think this one is pretty neat. And 24 strings single-stranded are kind of big, but not too big, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that it necessarily is something that a man would take over a woman. Like, anybody might appreciate this bracelet, provided they like the colors, which are pretty vibrant. The red is a really deep dark red, so that kind of comes out a little bit different from the bright yellow and the bright orange. And then the blue is that sort of electric-y blue, so that really kind of makes it pop a bit as well. By the way, I don't show the whole bracelet getting made here because, like I said, 3.5 hours. If we sped that up, all of it, it would be over 30 minutes of video. And just not that many people watch all the way through, so it's okay. I understand. That's a lot of video, a lot of me talking. Oh my god, I'm struggling at what is this, 12 minutes? Struggling with things to think about, or to talk about rather. Like I said, there was 1/3 lengths of string, and so I had no problems worrying about anything running out, despite the fact that there are colors just kind of all over the place. I did not change directions of strings because I was worried that one would run out or anything like that. I just let things go the way they would go, and it turned out just fine. It's a fun project. I'm thinking I might try it again. I don't know if I want to do as many strings though. Maybe I can try this with like a 16 string. There's where I forgot to change directions. I wasn't sure if I left that part in the video or not. Apparently I did. Because yeah, there's like a whole section in the middle I left out because again, I wasn't doing 30-minute videos. Just no. Yeah, so hopefully to the person who wanted to know how to make random ones and didn't feel comfortable doing random on its own, hopefully they get the gist of how they can create their pattern using the templates, and they can create one on their own. Obviously this pattern will be available over my website, but I kind of feel like, it's already been done. If you're gonna have something that's creative and different, and you're trying to create that random look, the best way to do that is to just start going at it, figuring out your pattern, figuring out what kind of design you want to make with it. Maybe the first one doesn't turn out as great. Maybe you see an element in there that you like, and that's going to be in the second version, and that you progressively make changes and do things to it to make it come out to the pattern you like. I think there's definite parts of this one that I would, potentially use again. And there are parts that maybe I wouldn't do as the same, So that's part of the whole like trial and error with this kind of bracelet design. And I think sometimes it's gonna eventually lead to like a more structured pattern. Like once you start to see an element you really like, then you start to build that in there, maybe let it repeat, and then you end up with a very, very structured thing, and that's cool too. I don't know. I kind of think that being creative is the important part. That it doesn't matter if it's like somebody else's. It doesn't matter if you are maybe making a kind of a mess. Maybe the design that you came up with is a mess, but it'll be your mess. It'll be your creation that you build from there. Like you can decide, okay, this is the part that I don't care for, and then you just go for it. Take the bits that you like, redo those, because I could see like parts of this kind of looking a bit like a butterfly, So then I could really kind of lean on that if I wanted to. Take those bits that kind of look like the butterfly wings and try to actually build that into a bracelet. That would be really cool. I could see that being a thing. I could see where doing a limited number of colors, you could make it look like stained glass. And I think I've seen bracelets that actually kind of really leaned hard on that. But maybe kind of going a little bit random with it, maybe it comes out different. Maybe you have one that, you know, instead of it repeats itself, it changes up and goes with the flow and comes out completely different from anything that anybody else has ever made. And I say would be awesome. That'd be really cool. So hopefully I'm encouraging you guys. Hopefully you guys get a kick out of this stuff. I think there's a lot of room for trying this stuff out and making something really fascinating. Potentially, if you really wanted to go crazy with it, make a bag. Make this join repetitively over and over and over and make a bag out of something that looks randomized. I think that would be amazing. I think anybody who sees that like out in public is gonna be like, wow, because there'll be like nothing that anybody else has ever done before. So yeah, I'm just here to encourage you guys and give you guys the tools to be able to figure out how to do this stuff yourself. So hopefully you guys get inspired. Hopefully you guys come up with something cool. If you want to share it with me, you can share it over on Discord, or maybe tag me on Instagram, I guess. Like, just, leave me in the comments, and then I can check it out. Yeah, this is getting really near the end now. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoy this. Hopefully you can leave me a like. And yeah, as always, don't get your strings in a bunch.